Okay, I'm going to move you guys up here. We'll get our little synthwave playlist going on that we all love so much. Okay, you guys are up here. Shower lurk sounds good, B. Okay, so last time. Turn this down just a smidge. Okay, so yesterday, what happened yesterday? We got stuck on something kind of weird. Oh yeah, we were fucking around with the timers for a while. Let's just play through each level now. So which one? This one I think will lead to where's our guy? There he is. So this one is gonna lead to that. Okay, so let's start at level 1, play through them all. Hell yeah, play a little Among Us, dude. Fuck yeah. So for the moving platform, let me find it. I'll show you the code. Okay, so here's how the platform works. It's pretty simple, actually. So the problem that we were having was how to tell it which way to go, right? Last time you watched, I think, Sarah. So, in fact, I could probably rewrite this to make it a little more concise. That's okay. Basically, I gave it a variable called last dir, which stands for last direction. So there's a direction variable, which is either 1, 0, or -1. -1 being moving to the left, +1 moving to the right, and then 0 not moving. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to try and add the ropes today. Essentially, so that's the direction variable. I made a last direction, so before it changes direction, so when the timer goes off, it changes the direction to 0 to stop it. And then basically what it does is it checks what the last direction was, and if it was left, it increases it so that it goes to the right next time, and if it's 1, it decreases it, which all might sound kind of weird. But then this is the line of code that actually moves the player or moves the platform. So basically, it's just taking the move speed and multiplying it by our direction variable, which is either 1, 0, or -1. So our move speed is 1.2. That means it's going to move 1.2 pixels per frame, per game frame, which is 60 frames a second, essentially. So every 60 times a second, it's going to move the platform 1.2 pixels multiplied by the direction. So if the direction is 0, 1.2 times 0 is 0, so it stops. If direction is 1, 1.2 times 1 is 1.2, so it moves to the right. And if it's negative, if direction is -1, then it's 1.2 times -1, which is -1.2, which is what moves it to the left. If that makes sense. And then yesterday we were having a little bit of a problem with, because I wanted the platform to pause, but I wanted the platform to pause for a shorter length of time than it moves for. And that was a little bit tricky, but we ended up figuring it out, so. Hell yeah. Jamie, thank you. It's kind of confusing. Like, if I was explaining it from the very ground up, like, essentially what's happening is everything I put into the game, so if we look at our scene here, like, here, let me show you here. I can actually just show you. So if I go to the transform here, so you see, if I move this player around, you can see the X and Y value over here changes. So, oopsies. Basically, where are we here? Where's the fart? So basically oh, for God's sake, gotta pull this down here. Basically every object in the game has like an X and a Y position. So if I increase the X position, you'll see that number beside the X goes up. And if I decrease it, it goes down. Like it's just like in math class, there's an X axis. If you increase the value of this thing's X, it goes to the right, and if I decrease it, it goes to the left. So that's really all we're doing in the script here with the moving platform, is I'm just taking this X variable and I'm just increasing it by whatever speed I set up here. Increasing or decreasing it. That's why we use 1 and -1. Like that's why we multiply it by 1 or -1 to determine the direction that it's moving. Exactly, like a bar graph. Yeah. So if something increases, like if you have time on the x-axis, as you move this way along the x-axis, time is increasing, right? In this case, it's just position. So we're just manipulating the position of that one object. Okay, and then we also added these guys, which the art looks like garbage. This is all just placeholder art, but this is just like a little rotating. I think it's gonna be like a spike ball. But we'll figure out the art later. But just like a rotating trap, and then we got the platforms that go back and forth. So let's just rip through the levels. You guys are seeing that, right? So this, if I hit it, I die, right? So, and then the object is just to get to the person. So at the end of the level, there'll be an animation where like he sniffs you, and then they're gonna die somehow, basically. But right now, it just moves you to the next level. So we got this one, these little projectile guys here. We got wall jumps. This level teaches you about wall jump, and these levels are all going to get reworked. These are just like the rough draft version. We got this little arrow that shoots you, kind of like the barrels in Donkey Kong. It just shoots you in a certain direction. Shit, hit the spikes. This level is probably my least favorite. It's very it's too like pixel perfect. Like you make one little mistake and it's like too unforgiving. There we go. Oops. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fuck. Can't play my own goddamn game. I read an interview with the guy who made Space Invaders way back when. And he said that he could only play like the first 2 levels of of his own game. Couldn't make it past that. Oh shit. And it's just like Super Meat Boy. If you die, if you get hit once, there's no lives or anything like that. You just restart the level. No checkpoints. Maybe if we make longer levels, we'll add checkpoints or something, but I don't really think that they're necessary because it's going to be pretty short, simple levels. It's going to be a short, simple game. This level I like. We got the blocks with the white around them. They disappear. Oh shit. Shit. Dead. Like 1 second and they disappear. Oh, fuck yeah. I always forget about that. And then you can cancel when you're getting launched in those, launched by these guys. If you hit the jump button, it cancels it, and then you get control back again. So here, boom. There's that guy. And then this is the one we made yesterday. This one actually starts... I put him in the wrong starting position. 1 sec. And obviously you won't be able to just like jump over it like this. Whoops. Oh shit. Okay, so let's just open that last level there. Do that one again. And this guy's supposed to start here. Got these rotating fucking things in there. And then we got the moving platforms here. Oh. Oh, fuck. I think we're going to have to rework the moving platform a little bit. And one of these days, we're going to actually have to... We'll do it, like, on a stream. But there's this concept in... It's probably true in, like, most programming, but in game development called delta time, which essentially is, like, the time between frames. So, like I was explaining earlier with the moving platform, it moves 1.2 pixels per game frame, which in this case, it's running at 60 frames a second. So 60 times a second, it's going to move 1.2 pixels or whatever, the moving platform. This part's... Oh, shit. But then the problem is, what if you're playing this game on a different device, and maybe it's older, or for whatever reason, your game is running 30 frames per second, whereas mine's running at 60, then your movement is going to be it's going to feel half as slow, because he's only moving 1.2 pixels per frame 30 times a second instead of 60. Does that make sense? So you account for that by using what's called delta time, which essentially takes, like, it's 1 divided by the frame rate. So if it's 60, it's 1 divided by 60. If the frame rate's 30, it's 1 divided by 30. And then you multiply all your movement by that delta, so that when I'm playing on 60 frames per second and you're playing on 30, it's consistent across the different frame rates, if that makes sense. So I haven't put any of that in the game yet. It's probably something we should do sooner than later. So, like, maybe next week sometime we'll just, like, have one stream where we just basically, like, kind of rework all of the movement variables so to account for that delta time, which will mean, like, it'll mean changing some shit up a little bit. It'll mean reworking some things, because all the movement will be slightly different. But we'll have to... The sooner we do that, the better, because it'll be less to change later on. Oh, fuck. There we go. Yeah, the disappearing blocks are mean. This part's pretty mean, too. This part I'm still not sure of. It might be a little too hard. Oh, fuck. Because you got to backtrack and then get onto the platform. Oh, shit. Every time. Fuck that up every time. Oh, Jesus. Chief, good to see you, bro. How you doing? It's been a while. Hope you're all good, man. Oh, shit. Nice. Oh, man. We're gonna get it. This is the hardest level so far. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck that up. Another weird thing in game development is accounting for various display resolutions. That can be a weird thing too. That's how I broke my previous game. Why it's unplayable now is because I wasn't thinking about that properly when I first started making it. And yeah, I basically fucked it all up. There we go. Oh shit. Yeah, this part that I'm getting stuck on now, I'm not... It might be just frustrating and not actually fun difficult. There's a difference between fun difficult and just, like, frustrating difficult. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, shit. Yeah, I completely broke. I had a game, it's playable start to finish. But then I realized that I made a mistake with the display resolutions and all that. And then when I went to fix it, I ended up basically just realizing that, like, it was a puzzle game. And it was made in such a way that, like, the puzzles have to be on... you need to see the full puzzle on the screen in order to solve it. It was basically like your little character, and the puzzles are based on, like, it was kind of like block pushing, like Zelda dungeon kind of style puzzles, like 2D. And then when I went to try and fix it, it was just like I would have to basically redesign all of the puzzles to make them fit into the proper, like, resolutions. And I was just like, you know what, it's not worth it. Because it would have been a completely different game. There we go. Boom. Did it. That's the last level. So that's what we got so far. So yesterday, some of you guys had some good ideas. Gazebo had an idea for, like, a rope, like a swinging rope, kind of Donkey Kong style. Busy and back to work for the year. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks, Mitch. So it's coming along, man, slowly but surely. I'm hoping to have 15. So right now we're at 8. So 15 might be a little much. But I was hoping to have 15 levels ready for playtesting for you guys. Like, just with shitty art like this. Like, it would look just like this. But you guys could play them and at least just tell me, like, how the mechanics feel, how the speed feels, how all that shit feels. So yeah, just to get it locked down. Where the levels are too easy, too hard, wall jumping, all that kind of shit. Okay, so a rope. This is gonna be fucking hard. And then Jamie had an idea for these platforms. Maybe we should do the platforms first, because I think they'll be a little less tricky than the rope. But goal for the end of this week would be to have, like, a rope swing mechanic and then these up and down platform mechanic, I think would be sweet. So let's start with the platform because it's going to be easier. It's basically going to be similar to the moving platforms, but just we're going to be controlling the Y position instead of the X position. So let's go with that first. So we'll make a new scene. And it is going to be a kinematic body, which is basically an object that reacts both to the physics engine that's built into Godot and also to code. Okay, so it needs, what does it need? A shape. Collision shape 2D. Which is going to be a rectangle shape. So this is the actual collider that the player and other objects in the game are going to collide with. We're going to give it an image because this is actually invisible in the game. So you need to add a sprite, which in a sprite just means an image. And for the image, we're just going to use our icon.png. So it's just going to be this fucking guy here. Oopsies. We want the collision shape in front, just so I can see. Okay, that's good. And then let's maybe make them that big. That might be too big, actually. Maybe let's go. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll try that big and see. So that's going to be our platform. Basically, the idea I have is these things kind of coming up, moving up and down into and out of the ground, sort of a thing. Give me one question. Leaderboard, yeah, so I was thinking about that. I don't know how to incorporate online shit yet, but I'd like to have that. It'd be kind of cool to have at least just like the fastest time or something for each level. Show each who had the fastest time. Yeah, I gotta figure that out though. That's one thing that I have zero. Wouldn't even know how to do it. So no worries, Nikki. No worries. Take your time. Okay, and we're gonna call this. The other one was moving platform. Let's call this one moving platform vertical. Okay, and then we'll save the scene. And we'll add a script to it. About the FPS thing, why should someone play FPS? Yeah, so maybe if you're just on an older computer, or you have maybe you're on a phone or something that runs at 30. Or another thing is that sometimes games will drop frames. It's never just a perfect 60 FPS. Sometimes computers get bottlenecked and stuff. So sometimes it'll drop the odd frame here and there, and then using that delta time. So let's say it drops down to 50 frames per second, then the delta will also drop down to 1 divided by 50 to account for that, if that makes sense. It's a weird thing that I kind of just learned about recently too. Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate that, dude. Yeah, and you can actually set in the project, I'm pretty sure you can set yeah, so the physical frames per second, I can set this in here, so I could set it to 30 if I wanted to. Yeah, and that's what that delta time accounts for. It's kind of confusing, it's kind of weird, but so yeah, the delta thing is the delta thing is a little confusing. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that if you're playing it on 30 frames per second, so again, we'll go back to the moving platform. So this, like I said, this line of code here is what actually moves it. The rest is just kind of doing some math. So if I'm moving 1.2 pixels every frame, and for me that's happening 60 times a second, and for you it's happening 30, your game is going to look like it's in slow motion. So you count to that with the delta. They call it delta time. Yeah, it's to prevent it, not only smoothness, but just to so that it's consistent. So the speed feels the same no matter what. So you could boot up your old Windows 95 and go to Newgrounds and play this, and it would still feel smooth. Yeah, most devices I think do 60 FPS. It's more for if you're playing on an old device, maybe either a shit internet connection or the game just drops frames, which just happens sometimes. Windows 95. That was our first computer we got when I was a kid. Okay, so basically we can almost make this, we can basically just take, I'm just going to copy all of this code from our oh, I gotta get the variables to copy all this code from our horizontal platform. Basically just have to change a couple of things. So first of all, I definitely want it to go faster, so let's go with 2. Use that. Our directions are going to be up and down, not left and right. Time float will be 1 second. So yeah, basically we want to do exactly the same. Left. So -1 in this case will be. In game development, it's weird that y-axis is actually reversed. So you increase it to go down, I think. So we want to directions dot up. This might be backwards. I might have to fix that. Start directions dot up. So we want it to move up at first. And basically that all should kind of work the same. So let's just throw one into the first level here and see what happens. Get rid of you. We can get rid of you. Oh, and then collision. So this is going to be on the, call it the walls layer, because the player isn't going to die if... No, the player won't die if they touch it. The player will die if the thing raises them up into some spikes or something like that. Okay, so where was that? Where was that collision shit? There we go. So it's going to be on the wall layer, and then it's only going to collide with the player. Okay, so let's throw one in here. Moving platform vertical. Start direction is up, so just gonna place it there. We should see it go up, stop for a second, and go down, but we'll see what happens. Might not work. Oh, what happened there? Invalid set, wait time on base. Where is this? Line 15. Okay, we got an error there. Wait time equals time. Oh, I might have to, let's go in here. Might have to add this. Time is 1. Do I have to put 1.0 maybe? Oh. Time float 1.0. That should be fine. Try it again. Okay. Invalid set index wait time on base null instance with value of type float. There's always something, man. You just never fucking know. So why is this happening? Function ready, line 15. So it's saying null instance with value of type float. Here we go. This is programming. Welcome to programming. Should work, but it doesn't. No clue why. Like, it's weird. I have the value in there. Let's go 1.5 maybe. It's trying to... No, same thing. Okay. Oh, I know why. I'm an idiot. Because we didn't add a timer to our thing. And it's referencing a timer that isn't there. Add a child resource, which is a timer. There we go. Should work now. So basically, this code is referencing an the way this works is like you make sort of a parent node, and then you throw these other nodes into it. So you can, there's all kinds of nodes. There's tons of them. There's like sprite, which is an image that you add. There's a collision shape, which is something that things in the game will actually collide with. One of them is a timer that you can just program to time out, and I didn't add that there. So let's try this now and see if it works. There we go. Okay, but it's still moving. It's moving to the left and not up and down because we didn't change position.x to position.y. Try this. Whoops. Nope, still. Oh shit, I changed that in the wrong platform. I'm going to close this so I don't get confused. There we go. Position.y. We want its y position to be changed, not its x position. There we go. Now it should come back down. We'll see. Maybe it just keeps going up and up and up. Okay, not coming back down. So let's set our time back to 1. Oops. Okay, and let's make it move. We're going to make it move less just so we can see what it does. So let's go like 0.5. So it moves. Keeps moving. Doesn't seem like the timer is timing out. Oh, I know why. Because... no, timer.start. So, let's see. So right now, what I'm adding, this print function, what this does is when this basically is the code that runs when the timer times out. It's just like an alarm. It counts down and then it runs some code after it counts down. So this print function is going to actually write something down here. So we'll be able to see if this is actually getting timed out or not. Because sometimes, for whatever reason, it won't, doesn't time out. So go back here. And I'm not seeing anything. You guys can't really see it, but it's not timing out. So that timer isn't actually counting down for some reason. So we need to figure out why. Johnny Castaway. Yeah, those were so fun. You're I Wish I Was Born. Hey. Yeah, exactly. You can play it in Germany. Oh, yeah, nice try. Nice freaking try. Okay, so why are you not timing out? So timer wait time is time. We're telling the timer to start. I'm just going to do this here. I'm going to say print ready. So I'll make sure this code is running. So it printed that. So the timer should be starting. Oh, I know why. Here, I'm going to just get rid of this because we haven't actually connected the timer here. I should have just duplicated that whole object. But anyways, that's besides the point. So we'll go here. There we go. I have a feeling it'll work now. Let's see. Should stop. Good. There we go. We got our platform. It's working. So, first thing is it's way too fucking big. We don't need it to be that big. So let's make that a little smaller. Something like that is probably a little more appropriate. Okay, and we definitely want it to move a little faster. Now, again, this is something I'm also going to have to change, I think, because right now, the way I have the moving platforms working, and the way I have the these up and down platforms working now is basically I tell it how long I want it to move for before it stops and then moves the other direction, which works, but I think it would make more sense, especially when we're designing levels, to be able to tell it how much distance to go before it stops. So that if I wanted it to go, because this whole thing is on an 8x8 grid, so I could make it go like 24 pixels, which would be like three squares in the grid, rather than saying move for 1.2 seconds. If that makes sense, it'll just make it a little more precise. So it'll mean reworking some of that. But again, we're kind of just prototyping shit right now, so it's okay for now. But there will be a stream. Maybe next week we'll do like a... I should write this down, actually. Stream where we change all the movement to delta, and we fix this system so that it moves by distance and not by time, because it'll just save a lot of headache later on. Where's my fart game note? I'm just going to write that down. So delta time and moving platforms, distance instead of time. The platform guy, yep, we just made it. This guy. So we just made it here. We made it. This is the actual object itself. Don't worry about the art. That's just the logo. That's just the Godot logo. And every project starts with that as an image in there, and it's just exactly for this, just so you have some sort of image you can throw onto your objects to prototype with. Yeah, just because it'll be a little weird, especially when we get into the delta time and all that shit. It'll be more precise to say move 24 pixels than it is to say move 2.5 seconds or whatever. Oh, the art. No, I didn't design this guy. It's just the Godot logo. That's what she said. Way too big. Hell yeah, Chubbles. See you later. So, yeah. But again, I'm like a white belt with one stripe when it comes to programming and game development. So the way I'm doing this, like, keep in mind, this is a beginner, a guy who's figuring this out. If you watched a professional do this, I'm sure it would be very different. But hey, man, sometimes if it works, it works. If it's fun, it's fun. That's the goal. Make a game that's fun to play. Okay, so now we should be able to, on a case-by-case basis, move these things either up or down at the start. So let's have one like there, one there, and then we'll make another one here. And then this one, if we did this properly, I should be able to take this one and say go down. There we go. So one moves up, one moves down. I should be able to jump on them. We're good. Oh. Pushes me right through the wall. So yeah. These are cool. I think the way we'll make these into a hazard is if I have something like, for example, I can delete that. Oops. Yeah, delete that. Something that goes like this, and then we have I actually don't have spikes in this level, but if we had 2 spikes there, and then if you're standing on it when he moves you up, kills you. Another thing too, another problem with the time thing is if, let's say I wanted to move it faster, but I don't want to move it as far, then I have to actually go into the code and change the speed. Because if I'm saying move for 1 second at X speed, it's going to go that like it's just going to go until it hits 1 second and then turn around. Whereas if I want it to maybe go chung, 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 like that, be harder to do. But if I can just do the distance and then I can set the speed, then the distance and the speed will be totally separate, not like combined. Does that make sense? Back with food. Hell yeah, Nikki, what'd you get? Impaled by spikes. Okay, so we got the moving platform. That's looking good. Now, let's see if we can get started on a rope. This, I'm not exactly sure even how I'm going to do it, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how to have the top of something not move, but the bottom move. So let's see if we can figure this out. So let's make another scene. Now this one will also, there's a couple ways we could do this. We could kind of have two separate colliders, one up here and one down here, and then the one down here just moves back and forth, and then something that is connected to both of them. That might work. Or we could make one object, one kind of line, and program it so that it changes the angle, like put a pivot point at the top and then rotate. That might be the easiest. So let me think about this. So once again, let's add a Let's add a kinematic body. And it needs a collision shape, which will be a rectangle. And it needs a sprite, which is an image. Be this guy again. Now we're just gonna make it like super long and skinny. Boink. And really, I think what we might want is, if it's going to be a rope, you're only really going to want to collide with the bottom of it. You kind of get stuck, like on Donkey Kong when you jump on the rope and he like slides down to the bottom and then swings around. I think that's kind of how we want it. So we'll just have that collider on the bottom for now. And now, can I move? I'm trying to think of how we're going to do this. I wonder if I can move this like center point. Because I feel like if I could move this center point and then rotate around that, it would actually be pretty easy. So I'm going to actually just Google that. Yeah, he's the placeholder for everything. Baked potatoes and baked chicken wings. Damn, that sounds good. Fuck yeah. Okay, so let me just see. Godot, object, move, like origin point or center point. Set rotation center point. Here we go. Pivot point should be the origin of the kinematic body node. If you offsite the sprite collision shape's local position, you can adjust the visual center of gravity of your object. I see. Okay, so let's... Wait. Flipping horizontally. Okay, let's see. So I'm just going to try something here. No. Yeah, let's just try something. So we'll call this rope. I might not be a rope in the final thing, but that's okay. Save this. Add a script to it. Okay, and then we're gonna go. So this function here, a function is just basically like a little, you can think of it like a teeny tiny little program that runs a little bit. So anything in this physics process function is what's going to run 60 times a second. So we're just going to say rotation degrees plus equals 1. So every second or every frame, so 60 times a second, is going to increase the rotation of this object by 1. And I just want to see where it rotates, what it actually rotates around. So go back to our level 1. We can get rid of, whoopsies. We can get rid of our moving platform. And let's throw in a rope. And we'll, oh, nope. want to undo that. Link it to the level. There we go. Okay, I just want to see if it rotates around the center or not. Let's just see what happens here. Yeah, look at that. It works fucking right. So that was easy. So now we basically just have to say go so far this way and then go back. So how did we do that? Let me just make sure I understand this. So if I move this back up to the center point in the scene, the actual rope scene, and then hit it again, now it rotates around the center. Okay, so that's easy actually. So it rotates around the center point local to the scene. Cool, that makes sense. Play this again. Okay. So now, if this is, let's say this is 0, we'll go 45 degrees each way. So this is going to be kind of weird logic. It'll be similar to moving the platform back and forth. So let's see if we can make this happen. So make it a constant, and it'll be called swing speed. And we'll say it's 1. That way I can just change this up here. And anywhere else this variable is mentioned in the code, if I just change it here, it'll change it everywhere else. That's why you use variables instead of hard coding everything. We just put the actual numbers in. Okay, and then we're going to have, I think we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to have a direction. So we'll do enumerator. So the directions will be left and right. And then we're going to say, we'll have the dir equals -1. Oh. Or no, it's going to be variable. And then we'll have last dir equals 0. Doesn't really matter what it is. And then we can go, so we want to be able to control which way it's, well, we can do that later. First, let's just see if we can make it go back and forth. So how did we do this with this? We had, don't need to worry about that just yet. So last direction is there, so we'll do that in our ready function. Okay, so then this time we're going to swing it until, let's make another constant. We'll call it swing max equals 45. So we want it to go to change its thing by, or no, that's not going to work. It'll work if we do, so swing max, actually let's go swing max to 90. And we'll set its starting rotation. So we'll say rotation degrees, whoopsies, equals -45. Okay, I just want to see if I throw this in the room, is it going to be, it should just kind of be stuck at a 45-degree angle if I did that right. Let's just see. Oh, I know why. Got an error there. Oh. There we go. Okay, go again. Okay, that's actually good. -45 moves it that way, though, which is kind of interesting. That's okay. So that's good. Okay. Now we're going to do, I don't know if you guys remember when we first started doing the moving platforms, we had like a timer or a counter variable that counted up. Counted up as it moved, it counted how many pixels, and that's what we were using to move it back and forth. We'll kind of work with something similar. Well, we're not there yet. The rope has to swing back and forth, so this is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, so now we're going to say our rotation degrees plus equal to swing speed. So let's see which way it starts to swing when we run it here. Yeah, so it's swinging the right way. So now we need to tell it stop when it gets here and then switch direction. The nice thing is we won't have a move. It won't pause. It's just going to switch direction, so the logic shouldn't be too bad. So let's think about this. So we're going to add 1 every single time. Then we'll go counter plus equals. We'll make this the same. It'll count up by the swing speed. That way, if we want it to go twice as fast, then the counter will also count twice as fast. Then we'll say this. If counter is greater than or equal to our swing max, so once it moves 90 degrees, essentially, this is where we're going to switch our dir. So dir multiplies itself by -1. So if it's 1, it'll become -1. If it's -1, it'll become 1. And then we'll reset the counter. Counter equals 0. Let's just see what happens here. And then we're going to do this times direction. And our direction is -1. Okay, let's just see what happens. Okay, so it's doing the right thing, but it's not doing it at the right angle. So I think it's just because of the way that... Here, if we do that, let's see what happens. Boop. 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 It's kind of robotic, but... works pretty good, actually. Okay, and then now, if our player collides with it, it should be one of those things where, like, should the player have to hold a button? Dirt. SMRT. Phenomen, what's up, dude? Basically, I had it before it was adding the rotation degrees, which made it go this way. So now we're just subtracting. So it's going this way instead. It's because in game, at least in Game Maker, Godot's probably similar. But how does this work? If, like, I think this is 0 degrees, like to the left. And then if you increase, it goes counterclockwise. So it kind of starts here and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 90 is like looking up. 180 would be looking backwards, and then 270 would be looking down. If you think of an arrow pointing to the right, and that's 0. So it just depends whether it starts numbering it angled this way or numbering it angled that way. And it would just depend on the game making software. Essentially, we're just subtracting the rotation degrees. A lot of work recently. Well, come hang with us. Okay, so we got that. It's swinging. That looks great. So now what we're going to do is this. Let's think about this. So if I collide with... I have to play Donkey Kong and see how this works. Anybody remember in Donkey Kong for Super Nintendo, when you jump on a rope, do you have to hold any button? Or do you just jump on the rope and he's there and then you press A to jump off? I can't remember exactly. Because it's pretty smooth in Donkey Kong. And then when you let go, it jumps. I can't remember. Let's just see if we can get him when he jumps. And this actually might be something that we need to do in the player code, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll have to play and see. I'll play a little bit tonight and see. Oh, I got raspberries. I forgot. You think you have to hold? Okay. So this is where Godot is weirder than Game Maker. In Game Maker, any object can reference another object. So in the rope code, I could say like, if, colliding with player, and then you could say like the players, I could just say like players X position equals ropes X position, if that makes sense. So then it would stay on it. But in Godot, you can't actually reference other objects outside of that object script. So this will be tricky. This might require a little Googling. So let's just see here for a sec. Let's check our collision stuff. We'll call this props layer. Should be okay. And it'll only collide with the player. Here, I have one idea. So we're going to do this. We're going to say... no, that won't work. Oh, yeah, it might. Hold up, I'm just thinking here. Letting go, hitting a jump, and then grab. Right, so you're holding the jump button. You let go of the jump button, hold it again to grab. Okay. Or maybe it's not the jump button. Could be a different button. Actively hold on the rope with a button. Okay. See if we can make that happen. Got a fucking string coming through here. Snowing here? Welcome back, Jamie. Can't wait for the snow to be done. It's March, so it's going to start... oh, fucking shitty-ass scissors. It's going to start melting here pretty quick. Come on, fuck. There we go. Okay, so... I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Trying to think of how we control the player's position. I feel like I ran into a similar problem recently. Let me get find our fart code here. Hazard area. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, right. That's So we could have another collider on the player on its own layer. Or we have, yeah, it'll probably have to be in the player's code, I think. It means adding another collision shape to this thing, which I don't know if that's the best way to do it. There are things called singletons or something I think you can use to like communicate between objects. I might have to Google this off stream. It might be an off stream thing, but let's try one thing here. We got pretty close. We at least got it swinging back and forth, so that's a pretty good start. I'm going to try one thing, though. So let's go here. Let's add another. We already have the collision shape and something that checks for whether or not the hazards, whether or not our player is entering any hazards. But let's add another collision shape, or another area. This will be an area 2D. We'll call this rope area. And it needs a shape. And we'll make it a circle shape. It's an awful lot of colliders on one object. I don't know if it's the best. Okay, and then we're going to take this now. So this thing is on the player layer, and let's have it only collide with... I'm going to make a new, so layer 6, how do we do this here? Layer names. So layer 6, we're going to call it rope. Okay, and then we'll go to our rope. And we're going to put this guy on. So it's going to be on layer 6. And it'll only detect collisions with the player. Okay, and then now... Oh yeah, and then on the player, let's go back to our player. This thing, we only want it to detect collisions. So it's going to be on player layer and only detect collisions with ropes. And then we'll go to our player script. And we're going to add a function, and it's going to be area body entered. So essentially, when the rope enters this collider, this is what is going to run. This is what code is going to run. So we're going to go body entered. And then I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to say position .x equals body.x. Let's just see what happens. This might not work at all. Oh. The function on rope area body entered. Yeah, okay, I know why it's having trouble here. Something to do with this. Turn that off and see if that fixes it. Nope. Invalid get index X on base tile map. Why is it on tile map? Line 192. But yeah, you guys aren't seeing the little error message I get, but basically it's telling me there's an error with that code. It's because it's detecting a collision already. It's detecting a collision already because we have so many colliders. So it's detecting a collision with itself, basically, is what's happening right now, I think. Oh, hold on a second. So this one, we want it to detect... Oh, no, we don't want it... Oh, yeah, we want it to detect collisions with rope. We'll take it off of that layer. And then I remember having this similar problem with this where it was just like weird collision logic was kind of tricky. So it's on the rope layer and it's only going to detect collisions with the player, but we can even maybe remove that and see what happens. And there's probably a better way to do this. Let's see what happens here. Okay, and then it freezes there, same thing. Invalid get index X. So it's trying to get the rope's index and it's not working. One more thing. Try this. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna just I'll do some off-screen Googlage because I like certain there's a better way. Yeah. Position.x equals body.x. Oh yeah, and then that's only gonna get called. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to make a new actual state for the player called on rope. So then the actual like physics will change for the player when he's on the rope. But in order to do that, I need to figure out how to reference between objects. Hell yeah, Sarah. We'll see you soon. We're gonna end right away here. I'll do a little research off stream. So we'll work on this tomorrow, trying to get this. Before I shut down, though, let me just make sure I disconnect this. So where are we here? Here we go. Disconnect. We'll get rid of that. Okay, so we should just have the guy going back and forth when we run the level. Okay, cool. All right, we got a platform going up and down. We got a rope swinging back and forth. We'll figure out the collisions for that. I'll do a little research tonight, hopefully. Guys, thank you once again for tuning in. I always get a little in my head when we switch to game dev and everybody leaves. I see the view number just fucking drop to a third, and I'm just like, ugh, should I even be doing this on stream? But I appreciate you guys for sticking around. Made a big swing and dink. No, we won't do the goodbye song today. Just do that on request days. Hell yeah. I know it just crushes the shit out of my average. If I ever want to make partner, fuck. Okay, we'll save that. Leave it there. Hell yeah. All right, let's see who's online. Who do we got? We got Nutty. Nutty's online. Nutty's really cool, actually. Let's go raid Nutty. I've never seen him online. He's a guy he makes awesome YouTube videos on like a lot of the like color correction and all that kind of shit I'm doing. Setting up cameras and all that. Partner in your mind. Thanks, Nikki. Get the raid message from Jamie there. We'll go say hi to Nutty. We'll see. Let's see what he's up to. He's pretty big. I don't even know if he'll notice our fucking raid, but
I'm very tired.
He's pretty funny. He's hilarious.
It's 7:30 a.m.
And he's playing the Metroid Prime remaster, which I've been playing off stream. It's super good. Get the raid message there. I think it's just Nutty, right? Yeah. We'll go meet him. We'll go say hi. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. More banjo, more game dev. Friday's requests, 11 a.m. Eastern. Everybody have an awesome day, and we'll see you tomorrow.